So specifically what I'm looking at is, and I pretty much know, but I wanted to come out of your mouth exactly what we are attempting to accomplish.
Okay, well, what has traditionally happened over the years is when we find a second dwelling on one parcel of land, which is against zoning, and we correct it, there's no way, we've always had, or approached it this way, that I would make a follow-up inspection at some point to verify that, one, the people are no longer in there, and they've made some modifications like removing the shower, you're allowed a commode, a sink, that type of stuff in an accessory building, and not, and we've always approached that, and we've always done that inspection. We've had the last two cases, one in particular, they refused to let me on the property completely and entirely. So I don't know, number one, if the people are not still living there in the second dwelling, because I can't go there and verify it. The other one, they reluctantly let me come on the property. So, that one was corrected. But if the prosecutor has said that I don't have that right, she feels that I don't have that right to go and make these follow-up inspections. And so therefore, how can I say that the violation has been corrected? And she suggested if we didn't agree with her, that we have the right to seek outside legal counsel.
No.
So that's what I'm asking you for, because I disagree with her on that
Right.
statement.
But now, from what I read on what she had to say on the topic, her main disagreement with our zoning was on the definition of a dwelling. Okay? And I believe she felt that a dwelling is no longer a dwelling if nobody's living there.
Right, that's what she said, yeah.
Right. So by her definition, it's like, well, they said the people moved out. If they moved out, there's nobody living there, therefore it's not a dwelling. We can't go in and make them take out all the things because, so what we have there is just a disagreement between what we define a dwelling as and what the prosecutor defines a dwelling as. So, by her definition, if we're looking at, agree with her, we say, okay, let's just say it's not a dwelling for sake of argument, and as far as we know, they don't have renters in there anymore. So if that's the case, then we really wouldn't have any action.
Right.
Because we're following her. Now, if we don't agree with that, and we want to have them actually take the, to our standard for what we call a dwelling and tear it down. But now, how much are, and again, which is why I gave everybody a cost, in order to do that, since the prosecutor already said they would not do that, we have to hire an attorney. So, again, we know what the hourly rate would be, the cost would be, and that's a decision we have to make, is do we want to proceed with our definition of dwelling and have that second, I can't call it a dwelling, second building that could be dwelled in but not. So that's where the costing came from. That's the issue. Now, if they would, if they just came up to us and said, okay, yeah, we brought it down to a point where it doesn't fit the definition of dwelling for the township, then it would all go away. If they don't want to do that, then we have to decide whether we want to, again, enforce our zoning through hiring private counsel. So So any discussion that you guys want to have on that, feel free, chime in, 2 cents.
Well, I think we had a pretty long discussion tonight already about enforcement of zoning. So,
This is a huge thing now.
it is.
We
Agreed.
I'll summarize it a little different. So, we're going to potentially vote to go around our prosecutor who does not, which we trust for everything. Free counsel, they do a great job. And we disagree with the county, so we want to pay $400 an hour to a third-party law firm. They don't know, how many hours do they put in to really understand the case? They're happy to take the case, of course, but to get to the point where if this family just doesn't respond, right, because that's their right, they don't have to respond, what is the goal? Is it to take them to county court where the county said they're already not interested in helping? Help me understand that, where the end goal is of this.
The end goal is to make sure that there isn't a second dwelling on that parcel of land.
What's the exact definition that we have of second dwelling?
Well, one, I can't even verify that the residents are gone.
What's the
Because it-
resolution for a second dwelling?
What do you mean? We only allow one dwelling per parcel.
What makes something a dwelling as
If-
opposed
If it
to,
has a kitchen, a kitchen, a bathroom, a shower, all that stuff, that's a dwelling.
per our resolution?
Well, it's the way it's always been, yes.
I can't put an oven and a shower in my pole barn?
You have to, if the
I mean-
health department lets you hook it up, I guess you can.
And the health department was already on this property and said it was okay.
Well, I can't verify that either. I just know that
Well, the second building
they
was,
hooked a pool house, the one in particular, they hooked a pool house, the previous owner hooked the pool house to the septic system with the understanding that it was strictly a pool house for swimming pool. Ultimately, those people sold to new residents, and that's when people started living in there, and we got complaints. I investigated, and they came to the Board of Appeals, the Board of Appeals denied it, and it was, at the meeting, they stated that they would let me, at some point in the future, verify that it wasn't a dwelling, and then subsequently, I got a call saying that they wouldn't let me on the property, that I have to deal with their attorney. My attorney would have to deal with their attorney. That's where it stands. So I don't care one way or the other, I just want it resolved one way or the other, because we are gonna continue to have these situations where people take accessory buildings and turn them into dwellings, and we have no way of controlling them if they don't let us come on the property and investigate. I mean, you can't take someone's word when they already violated the zoning to begin with. So, you know, I mean, how do you go about it? I don't know, tell me. But we've always, in the past, we've always done it this way, and we've never had a problem. And the previous prosecutor, assistant prosecutor backed us up. This one doesn't, but the previous one said, you have that right, go and do it, you know, so.
Like a warrant?
No, I just wanna, at some point, set up an appointment, to walk on the property, look and see, and be done with it.
But they stated they don't want you on the property.
Well, that was
So
what
we
was
need-
conveyed to me, I had to deal with my attorney, their attorney wanted to deal with my attorney.
So the goal is to try to get a warrant through the court system to force you onto the property. And we're gonna pay, well, if they spend 25 hours, we're gonna spend $10,000 trying to get a
We'll put a
warrant.
cap on it. So much money, I don't, either that or we just don't, I just won't worry about it. I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, these guys are telling me they want the code enforced, and now you're saying you don't want me to enforce the code? One dwelling per parcel of land, simple as that. There's, at least, over the years, there's been 20 And this is the first time was not allowed to go on the property. So, this particular case. The other one, we resolved it. We sat down like adults, talked about it, and they said, come on property, and they did it, no problem. Now, could they revert back 2 years from now? Probably, I don't know.
2 days from now.
But, you know, I mean, it's, how do you want to get around it? I mean, your code says one dwelling per parcel. You don't like that, change it, but that's what the code says. And I'm charged with enforcing that code. And I'm asking for a way to enforce it, that's all I'm asking. And if you guys choose not to, then fine. But that's what's written in our resolution, plain and simple.
Where's the oven and the kitchen and shower thing come from, like specifically?
Well, that's.
I'm not trying to make a dumb question, I just
It's not specifically stated, but that's generally, if you don't have those things, you don't have a dwelling. Right? I mean, it's common sense. If you don't have a shower and you don't have an oven and all that other stuff, then you
appliances.
probably don't have a dwelling. Maybe somebody could still live in it, you know, sleep in it, I guess, but,
I think it's like a tent.
but
Within the last month, there was a family that was fatally killed in a barn fire in Ashtabula. I don't want that happening in this community. The fire department was called for a barn fire. They got there, the flames were coming through the roof and through the windows. There was an apartment attached to that barn that the fire department did not know that it was a second dwelling on that property. A woman, her 2 children were both found dead. 2 other adults and a child made it out. If the fire department does not know that there's a second dwelling on that property, they had no desire to look for anybody when they arrived at that scene, according to the fire chief that was interviewed. And I don't want that happening in Auburn. If we're not supposed to have a second dwelling, enforce the code.
Second
don't want-
dwellings also apply, have been coming with, what starts out as a, let's say an agricultural building,
that's
and it gets
even worse.
expanded into being able to be a residence. One thing is, if it's agricultural, it isn't subject to inspection, correct, chief?
That's correct.
In certain cases.
Yeah, and then, again, if there's somebody living out there and they're kind of doing under the thing, you're right, you have no notice that that's, so you're in the same situation. So, I mean, there's basically safety and health issues involved with this, which is why it's part of the code, but, again, this is a, you know, if they would just, I mean, so, according to the, they do not have residents in there. Is that the information you have received?
Yes.
And that was through their attorney, or,
No, through the husband.
okay?
And the comment was made, anything else would have to be between the 2 attorneys. So,
Okay, so, but again, we have no way of confirming that, because they won't let you on the property.
Which sounds like they're right, based on our prosecutor and what they've advised. So we want to go against a review already by a trusted attorney that we use actively almost daily and pay a for-profit attorney $400 an hour to, I still don't know what the end goal is, I guess get you a warrant. Because they would have to get all the way to that point where the very same court system that's already looked into this is going to have to look into it again and then get you a warrant. I just feel like it's far-fetched, and we'll get to 10, 20 grand like now, and me personally, well, because I'm trying to fix up a lot of stuff around here, a lot of other uses for that money. Or I'd rather give it as a scholarship to somebody at Kenston, as opposed to try to attack one family that does not want you on their property. And I don't blame them. I mean, I really don't.
I don't understand why I don't blame it. They knew when they bought the place, the building was built without permits.
What if they wouldn't have went to the BZA?
They did go to the
What
BZA.
if they didn't?
What if they didn't, then the prosecutor would be citing them.
For a second dwelling?
Yeah.
But now that they've stated that people aren't there, or they've evicted them or whatever, they don't see it as a problem anymore, but we do.
We have no way to verify it. You know, at this point, do whatever you want.
It's a lot of money. And it's a
Well, like
big
I said, put
precedent.
a cap on it, $5,000, $4,000, put a cap on it, and he exceeds that cap, fine.
That's
You know,
12
it's
hours.
done. But, you know, I mean, I don't know.
I wish I had a good answer for you, Frank. The only thing that concerns me is if our prosecutor has already washed her hands of this and stating that by her definition, and again, it's
Well,
not a dwelling.
I will take that to the zoning commission. We will,
Yeah.
we will
But-
fix that.
But the key thing on that is, and I agree, if we end up in court, who are they gonna listen to?
All right.
They're not gonna listen to our $400 attorney, they're gonna listen to their prosecutor and their prosecutor's definition. What I wanna do is, I believe we should enforce our code. What I don't wanna do is spend a lot of money
No, I
trying
agree.
to enforce it if we can't win,
All right.
okay? Now, PJ, jump in on this one.
Well, my thoughts from the get-go was, we've heard all night here, is, we're not only looking, at least the group of residents in place tonight are not only looking for enforcement, they're looking for preventative enforcement. You know, require, application, rule on the viability or legality of a project that no one's even made a actual proposal on.
Right.
This is the opposite. It's been clear from, I think since we initiated zoning in the 50s, that there's one dwelling per parcel. That's not what happened here.
No.
And I certainly think you gotta put a cap on it. Mike, you're probably right, we're starting from behind the 8 ball on this. But how willing are we to,
We have
Enforce our
to
zoning.
enforce our zoning.
yeah,
I think, let's say, cap of maybe $2,000, enough to go in there and just to get them, because he wants our attorney, their attorney to talk through our attorney. So we have to have one. Prosecutor's already bailed out of it. So it may just be enough for him to send a letter to their attorney just to come in and get Frank, allow Frank to come in, take a look at it, confirm that there's nobody living there, and,
Well, no, you want to get stuff removed from the house, you said.
I wanna see what it is, yes.
Well, there's two issues.
there,
That's what's complicated. He wants to make renovations to the home after confirming no one's living there, correct? You want to force renovations. That's where this, possibly.
Well, possibly, because right now
Let's see what's there.
we're in a gray area on that, because it depends who you want to believe. If you believe the prosecutor, who you already said you do.
I'm just reading. I can read. I've never spoke with the prosecutor.
No, I'm
about
just
this.
saying,
I'm just
if we
reading.
use on the definition of dwelling, if we use her definition of dwelling, then all Frank has to do is confirm no one's living there. Because by her definition of dwelling is, if no one's living there, it's not a dwelling. Therefore, the issue's over. It's by our definition in our resolution of what a dwelling is that Frank is trying to, would like to have them do, but right now, I think, meet them halfway. Just confirm to us that no one's living there.
Right.
And they said, because of the statement of the prosecutor, I don't want to battle with the
No.
prosecutors. They came in with a definition, you can't battle the prosecutor's office.
like a weird use of money when we have a lot of other things to spend it on. How long has this been like this? Like, when was it built?
When was it built?
Yes.
Years ago.
And it's been fine all the way until now?
No.
Started as pool house.
No,
How do you guys know did you know people that lived there and worked on it?
yeah.
And it was fine then?
No, you know, when it's a pool house, it's one thing. When it's a dwelling, it's different. A pool house is allowed. A dwelling is not. A second dwelling is not. That's the difference.
So
It was a pool house under the previous owner. The new owners bought it, and there might have been renovation before by the previous owner, but the second owner, or the current owner, made it into a dwelling. It might have been a dwelling before and we didn't catch it, but we caught it. At this point, we brought them to the Board of Appeals, okay? That's where we are, and the Board of Appeals denied the second dwelling.
Yeah, 'cause I read the BZA, I didn't see the oven and shower thing.
Well, no, it's not in there. I told you that.
So
It's not in
this is
there.
another issue, getting the oven and shower out, or we don't care about the oven and shower?
Why we care about it, but I would at least like to verify with my own two eyes that nobody's living there. Because I don't trust the people, because they lied to me. They lied to my office, they lied to the Board of Appeals. All of that. We caught them in the lie, so, you know,
What did they lie about?
they told us they needed that revenue, or they wouldn't have been able to buy the property. And she denied she said that when she said it to Jane, when she applied for the application to go to the Board of Appeals, and then she said she never said that. No, it's not gonna be in the minutes, it's not gonna be in the writing, but that was stated. But, you know, all I wanna do
It's
is
here.
make sure it's not a second dwelling.
It is here,
Okay,
about the money, I'm reading it.
so.
They
you
gave
know.
invoices from learning
And, you know, I
centers.
mean, it's, you know, it's just a situation. They knew the building was built without permits, period. The previous owner told them that.
Even the pool house,
Yes.
that you knew about.
Well, I didn't know about it until I found out, and that's what, see,
No, I thought you understood that it was a pool house, and you just said
Well-
it didn't have permits. So you knew,
Well, didn't have permits for a dwelling.
but the pool house was permissible even though there were no permits,
A pool house is permissible.
without permits.
If it's part of the pool and yeah, it goes with the pool,
No-
okay?
No permits for the building.
No, as long as it's associated with the swimming pool. Yeah,
Really?
it's done at the same time, we just lump it all together, okay? But when you turn a pool house into a dwelling, now we have a problem. And that's what happened. I'm not saying they did it, I'm just saying they bought it knowing that the structure was built without dwelling, necessary permits for a dwelling, okay? They knew it, the previous owner told them that, okay? They stated, that was stated, that they knew that, okay? They came to the Board of Appeals, the Board of Appeals denied, you know? And they won't, and then I get a subsequent call saying that the tenant has left. And I said, I would like to verify that, and they said, you have to do it, you have to deal with our attorneys now, so. Your attorney will have to deal with my attorney, so.
Okay.
Alright.
All right, at this point in time, as I have that on old business, let's table any decision on where we're gonna go from this, have people have a chance to absorb it, and decide what we're gonna do. Right now, I would recommend that, you know, no action at this time.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So if you put a cap on it, and you say it's $2,000, so you each that $2,000 up and there's no resolve, where do we go from there? So we just threw $2,000 away?
It's 5 hours, that's barely gonna get them a letter.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, by the time you get up to date on what the case is and does all the revised codes and this and that,
Well, you're right, there's no guarantee that
and that's what I'm
we're
saying.
gonna have any
We're just gonna
resolution
throw
with
that money away.
$2,000. You know, it's one of those things, you know,
Yeah.
we're throwing it out there and hoping for the best.
I
Trying
got
to get something out of it, but we can't, again, we can't spend the entire township budget trying to fight this one issue either. Yes, sir.
I had a quick question. So this has been sent to the county, this issue, prosecutor's office, and it's been ruled on by them.
Well, what we wanted them is to, well, yes, they have ruled, basically, they disagree with our definition of dwelling. So they said if since they disagree with our definition of dwelling, we would have to get our own legal counsel to proceed, because they weren't gonna deal with it because of how they define.
Then it's a done
Well-
deal, file it and put the wording in there from the prosecutor, be done with it. They ruled on it, it's over, it's a wrap.
I'd rather fix all the broken fence rails at Adam Hall, to be honest, so it goes with our nice roof, but
This is ridiculous.
that's just me. I got a laundry list I'm gonna talk about tonight of broken stuff and things that can use money. It seems like, in all due respect, it seems like we got guidance and we're just going after a young family because they don't want you on their property, and quite frankly, that's their right. And then it gets into all this weird Fourth Amendment stuff. Other cities have tried it. Where I came from, Twinsburg had a shining example. They wanted the building inspectors to have rain to go into people's house and verify things, and they always lose. There was a Kent State case, Twinsburg, because I was looking into this, I was like, what chance do we have at getting a warrant to enter someone's house and then maybe to make them take out an oven, maybe not. We don't even know what we really want them to do, we just want to, yep, no one there. Next day, someone moves in, all for nothing. Are you gonna go every day and drive by and harass them like you did with this dirt bike guy? You drive by 3 times?
Wait a minute, I have not harassed him.
Well, you said you drive by every day or every other day.
Well, driving by is not
Okay,
harassment.
all right. Poor choice of
You're
words.
accusing me of something I didn't do.
You said it.
I know, I didn't ever say I harassed him. I said I drive by 2 or 3 times a week. That's my job.
Okay.
I don't harass people.
Oh. Well, we're gonna spend money on a third-party attorney
Oh, and
to
that's
get you
up
onto
to you
somebody's
guys.
property
That's
for
up to you
$400 an
guys.
hour. That feels like harassment, but it looks like harassment.
Stop.
That's because they're your personal friends.
Oh, really? Ooh. Okay.
That's what I've been told, that's all.
Well, to be honest, I would never want you on my property either, because that's my right, and I believe in property
I know
rights.
you don't believe,
I do.
my personal opinion, you don't believe in zoning. But like I stated before, if you don't like something in this resolution that we have, change it.
You said there was no resolution about the oven. I asked.
I'm talking about zoning in general. You're giving us the impression, and this is not just coming from me, this is coming from residents in the township, that you are against zoning. You don't believe in zoning. And if that's the case, and there's other people in this room that don't believe in zoning, there's a process to change it. But this is the zoning code we have today. This is what we have to live with, okay? If you don't like that, it's just like the gas station down at the corner. If you don't like the way it's written, then change it. But don't go behind people's backs and do different things. If you don't like it, change it. I've stated that for a year now. That if there's things in the zoning code that people don't like, then go to the zoning commission and change it. There's things in there that I don't necessarily like, but I have to enforce it because it's my job.
The zoning wasn't forced on the township. Everything there is opt-in.
Right. I was,
Any amendment is subject to a referendum.
absolutely.
We've had referendums in the past. Yeah, there's nothing there that was forced upon the township.
No,
Everything was approved,
and it's ever changing.
either by vote or by consensus of the voters, because they've had every opportunity to excise any part of that at any point.
Okay, just gotta keep things moving here. So the second dwellings, we're gonna table, we're not making any action on it tonight, because it's like one of those things we can argue for until 4 o'clock in the morning, but I don't know if anybody else needs to get some sleep eventually tonight. All right, NOPEC energizing grant, that is just on there per Mr. Davis to keep it,
You could skip.
keep it straight.
Mike,